We are recording. Okay. Gorgeous. Welcome back to another stunning, beautiful, gorgeous episode with your host, me, Simona Catalano. As always, I just jump right in. I don't know if you guys like that. I don't know if I need to develop my own personal style. I just feel like I'm more of an efficient yapper. Like I get right in, hit all the points, make it meaty. Should I be doing like longer intros? Let me know if that's something you guys like, if that's something I should be doing. Something I think we need to talk about for the girls, how to not get attached so quickly. The reason why I think this is an important episode for the girls is because way too often we are trying to do damage control and be like, how do I detach? And I'm like, oh my God. And you got to try so much harder to detach. So I figured let's go through some preventative steps to keep you on track so you don't attach super quickly. Bitch, slow down, relax. Slow down, relax. That's step number 1. Slow down and relax. Okay? Don't jump ahead. Don't start planning. Don't start future tripping. Don't start planning a wedding and saying, oh my God, it would be so much. Those are great things to marinate on after you think this is a really great, respectable man that I actually like. Because what happens more often than not is it's not a respectable man. It's a man that you were like, I had one good date. We had 3 good dates. You don't know anybody after 1 date, bitch. You don't know anybody after 3 dates. You know a version of whatever they have presented to you, but you don't know them. So I feel like when you know this, you also hold yourself accountable and say, I don't really know this person. I like what they've shown me. But I don't really know them. Also, I've been guilty of this too. I'm like, oh, we had such a great date. No, I'm the great date. I'm the great date. That's why I had fun. I had fun because I'm fun. Simona is fun and funny. Okay? And fresh. That's why I had fun. Be assessing and observing the guy, the experience. Okay? Be reflecting and checking in with yourself. What do I like? What don't I like? Are we really vibing? Is he interested in me, or is he showing interest? Is he asking questions? Is he following up? Be very critical about what it is exactly that you like. Because unfortunately, as women, we could like anything. We really could. Why? Because potential. So don't get caught up in the potential of things. Don't do that. A lot of girls do that. They're like, oh, maybe down the line. No. It's not about maybe down the line. It's about right now. It's about this present, current moment. Not down the line. Not if he changes. Not if and or when. None of that. Right now. Right now in this present moment. And when you assess critically and you observe, you just observe. You don't need to make any judgments, but you just observe how they're acting, how they're treating you, and what it really is that you're attracted to. That will keep you grounded in the present moment, and it will help you from getting way ahead of yourself. Okay? Women, we jump in with 2 feet. No lifeboat. No floaties, nothing. And that's where we get in trouble. You need to be assessing the person. Oh, he left me on red for 2 days. I don't really like that. I could already be liking a man, okay? Let's take me, for example. I could like a guy. Let's say I like a guy. Doesn't happen often. Let's say I like him. If I liked a man and he texted me and I responded and then he went MIA for a day or 12 hours, I don't like that. That turns me off. I don't like that. Okay? I don't get excited that he's responded and that he's brushed under the rug that he just went MIA. What did you do for 12 hours? What were you doing? Why did you text me and then go MIA? This is where you lean into being critical about behavior and behavior that you don't like and observing it. I don't let it affect me anymore. I don't let it affect my mood because I would say that I'm a pretty secure attachment style now. And I used to be very anxiously attached. But with that being said, I don't think anybody is really 100% secure. You know what I mean? Because we're all humans, and you're going to have emotions. They're going to fluctuate. And sometimes things are going to make you feel a way, and that's fine. But I don't derive my worth or validation from like whether or not I get a text back. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get excited over the baby shit. And that's another thing that will help you from attaching so quickly is like, don't get excited over basic bare minimum shit. Okay? Like, he texted you. He should. Like, he literally should. Do you know what I mean? So be reminding yourself when you are getting excited. I'm not saying don't get excited, but don't get ahead of it. And that's like another thing too, is when a guy does a grand gesture or does do something romantic, that puts women over the fucking moon. It puts them over the fucking moon, and that makes you bond so much to that guy. Maybe you've never experienced it. Maybe you really like him and then he did that. I'm not saying to not be appreciative and to not acknowledge that nice gesture, but too often you take that and you run with it and you overlook everything else that maybe isn't working in your benefit or that he isn't doing. And then you get into like a little bit of like the manipulative territory with the guys, right? Because sometimes a guy knows, like, let's say he fucked up and now he's doing a big grand gesture. That's manipulative. That's manipulative. So when you're aware and you're also removed from the situation, and this is something that you can try practicing. If your girlfriend was in this position with a guy and she came back from the date and she was like, oh my God, I like him. Oh my God, it's him. He's the one. You would be like, slow the fuck down. You would be like, slow the fuck down. Like literally slow the fuck down. So pace yourself emotionally. Pace yourself emotionally. Sometimes it's not love. You're just impressed. Like, that's the kicker. You're just impressed. And sometimes when a guy, because guys, as dumb as they are, they do know the weaknesses. Two things I would try to ask myself after every time that I see a guy or every time I'm like getting really excited about a guy is, do I like him or do I just like the idea of him? Because sometimes what happens when we're seeing a guy is, I'm guilty of this too. There's so many things I want to do with my guy, with my man, with the guy I'm seeing. Like, there's so many things I want to do. I'm like, oh, this would be so much fun. This would be so cool. This would be so like lit, fire, fuego, whatever. And sometimes I would just get the guy and just throw him into those situations and be like, oh yeah, like we're going to do this. And like, it's going to be so much fun when we go here. And like, you're planning. Now you're in the energy of planning and doing and thinking long-term. And he's not there. He's not there yet. It hasn't even crossed his mind. Next, I would stop replaying things in my head. Okay? Maybe replaying our date that was good, maybe replaying the things that he said, because that's a big one. Sometimes a man says something to you, like let's say he said, I love you during sex. Oh my God, don't ever, especially if that's the first time he said it, like ignore it. Like literally ignore it. You guys were having sex. Like, don't ever get ahead of yourself and bond to what a man has said unless there's action behind it. And that's a big one. That's a big disconnect for the girlies. You bond so heavily to what a man says, what he said he was going to do, what he said he wanted to do. Did he do it, bitch? Did he do it? Did he follow through? Removing yourself from what a man says, and also stop like thinking that it's Bible. Like, stop thinking that it's like he said it and so it is. It only is if he's done it. Okay? And this is a hard one, and it takes a long time. Men send me cute, very sweet messages all the time, but I look at the big picture, and that's something that the girlies don't do. You don't look at the big picture and look at everything about the man, okay? You focus just on the good, and this is the problem with attaching, is you focus just on the good and you forget all of the other stuff, okay? And I'm not saying to just focus on the negative. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you're trying to pace yourself and not attach yourself to a man so quickly, that is going to be very helpful. Acknowledge the good. That was very nice. Hold him accountable. Hold yourself accountable. And also be looking at the big picture. The good, the bad, the okay, the turnoffs, the icks, what you like. And then assess any deal breakers I'm overlooking. Anything that's kind of really a red flag. Like it's like, take 5, pause, slow down, don't go through. Anything, and I can guarantee you there's things that you're overlooking. There are things that you're overlooking. I know there are. I hear it all the time. You start talking to a guy and everything is good, but he slips up and you catch him in a little lie. That's like a pause for me. That's a pause for me. So when you're alert and you have clarity because you're paying attention, that's very good for you. That's very good. You want that. You don't want the love goggles on. You don't want the blinders on. And you don't want the rose-colored lenses. You don't want those. You want the clear frames, and you want to get your head out of the clouds, back down on earth. Okay? You want to be grounded, and you want to make sure that you're clocking everything that you need to be clocking. This is very important for the girls. You live too much up here. And up here, it's a crazy zone for you. You need your feet on the ground, okay? In the grass. Touch grass. That's important. If you're ever confused about something, this is something that I like to do. And people are going to say, oh my God, pros and cons list. I'm a Virgo, bitch. Pros and cons for literally everything. Pros and cons for my day, pros and cons for a trip, pros and cons for a date, because I am alert and I'm paying attention and I am being aware of stuff. I pay so much attention to detail. It would go over so many people's heads, like over so many people's heads. I could be watching a date. In fact, I always am. Whenever I'm out for dinner alone and I'm watching a date, I watch everything and I think, ooh, did she notice that? I noticed that. Did she notice that? Okay? So be aware, be alert. Very important for the girls. The problem with attaching so quickly is that it usually stems from a core wound. And the wound is usually like, please love me. That's the wound, usually, okay? It stems from your nervous system. And in all instances, it's going to be beneficial for you to help regulate your nervous system. And the best way to do that is to slow down with everything, to not jump in full force, and to go at like a steady pace. This is also going to protect you because more often than not, you get excited and then you just start running. And when you're running, you miss so many things because you're focused only on the destination and not everything that's happening leading up to that destination. So it's important for you to also help regulate your nervous system. And a big part of this, if you're anxiously attached, I would read the book Attached. It's very helpful in identifying how certain actions and behaviors make you feel and where you lie, and also how you would handle something. So I would read that book and start there. Start by assessing and understanding how things make you feel. Delayed text messages response. How does that make you feel? Are you okay? Are you freaking out? Also, everything is about practice. The more you practice grounding yourself. So let's say you're texting a guy and then all of a sudden the texts drop off, okay? Naturally, you're like, what the fuck happened? Like, that's so weird. But instead of allowing it to impact your mood and absorb that energy, why is it making me feel like this? What do I think this is actually saying about me? Because sometimes you could have like a negative belief or idea about yourself. And sometimes when someone doesn't act in the way that you want, that belief pops up and says, ha, I knew it. Okay? So a lot of it is identifying for yourself how certain things make you feel. And then why do they make you feel like that? A big part of attachment and attachment theory is understanding how your body feels. Understanding how you feel. And instead of investing and trying to prove or trying to force or trying to hold on to things, Because when we get attached, that's what we want to do. And we cling and we fight for it to work instead of stepping back and allowing the flow of things. Okay? And assessing, I'm feeling like this because he did this. He said this and now I'm feeling this. Does that seem rational? Does it seem like I'm reaching? Does it seem logical? Allow the emotions to come up, but don't absorb them. And this is very, very challenging to do, but you're going to practice this as you're talking to guys, and you're going to assess them in actuality and in reality. You're going to stop projecting onto them, and you're going to assess who they are, okay? This is going to save you so much in life, because you would not believe how many times a man is like breadcrumbing a girl, and it's always but. There's always a but. I just want you to know that, like, for me, I stop reading after the but, because when a girl DMs me and she says all the things that this guy has done that, like, don't make her feel good, she doesn't like them, but she's attached to him, obviously, because she didn't follow these steps, or she didn't know that she should be following these steps. And now she's attached to someone that really isn't good for her. He's not nice. He doesn't treat her good. And she's trying to justify it by all of the things that he maybe did or said that were, like, good. And it's usually just things that he said that you're attached to. So when a girl DMs me, and I don't read the but. After the but, I don't read. And you guys think that that's the most important part. For me, how a DM starts tells me everything I need to know. If the two first lines are not good, bitch, like, I don't care how it ends. I really don't. Don't be overlooking stuff, and don't be scared to check a man and say, hey, I didn't like that. Please don't do it again. That didn't make me feel good. I didn't like it when you X. And what you do when you communicate this to men, they don't feel like it's an attack on them. And that's really good for communicating things that you don't like with men, because you want a man's guard to be down, and you want to be able to acknowledge that you didn't like something and it didn't make you feel good. That's the best way to communicate with men. When I learned to do that, and when I learned to address things head on in a very non-confrontational manner, everything kind of changed with guys. Because sometimes they're not thinking, sometimes they're absent-minded. And so when you bring it up, like, for example, my schedule was conflicting with this one guy, and essentially we were trying to find a date to connect, and I didn't think that the day we picked was going to work. So I had originally said yes, and then I forgot that I had made another commitment. So I said, hey, actually, it's not going to work. No. Then I was like, okay, maybe it could work. So I messaged him back, and I was like, hey, I think it's going to work. And he's like, oh, shit, like, I thought it didn't work for you, so I made another plan or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool, no problem. And then the day of, he was like, hey, my plans fell through. Do you want to do something? And I was like, yes. And then he kind of, like, went MIA for, like, a few hours, and then popped back up and was like, hey, it's not going to work. So, like, that irritated me, and that was just, like, not something cool to do, because, like, we're trying to make a plan for the same day. Like, it was supposed to work, then it wasn't working. I know our schedules are, like, all over the place, but saying, hey, it's going to work, and then going MIA, and then saying, hey, no, actually, is, like, not the vibe. Like, that's not courteous, especially if it's, like, the same day, right? So I left it, and I didn't respond, and he was, like, blowing up my phone, whatever. It finally got to a point where I was like, is he, like, what does he think is going on right now? Because he's continuing to message me and blowing me up, not being like, answer me or respond or any of that stuff. It wasn't, like, aggressive. It was, like, just our usual stuff. And he was, like, trying to, like, have a conversation with me and trying to, like, ask me questions about what I was doing and, like, where I was going and whatever, and making conversation. And I had to just tell him, like, if you haven't, like, noticed, I am not interested in having a conversation right now. I really didn't like the fact that you essentially reached out and said that you wanted to do something, that it was going to work, and then you went, and then you just dropped it and came back and was like, actually, no. And he's like, so you're mad our schedules didn't align. That's not what I'm mad at all. More so about how you went about it. Going MIA for hours and being inconsiderate about my time that day when you knew I was really busy and I was making a genuine effort to see you. So he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't even like think about it like that. I didn't even realize, like, absent-minded. I say grain of salt with everything because you can be getting to know a guy and you can be like I was clocking the things that you don't like, but still moving at a pace that feels okay for you because maybe you're giving him, okay, a grain of salt. Okay. But after 2 times, maybe 3, I start to say, okay, what's really going on here? Like, let's really logically assess here. Because when you don't logically assess and you don't take the big picture of things and you don't say this is the good and this is the bad, and like, where do I feel given the context of all these things with this guy? You ignore the bad. Women always ignore the bad. And they just think that if I ignore it, it's going to get better. Wrong answer, bitch. Wrong answer. It's not going to get better. It's in your best interest because nobody is going to do it for you. You have to have your best interest at heart always. Pace yourself and just be emotionally aware. Emotionally regulate the nervous system. There's no rush. That's the thing. The timelines and the rushing with girls. You know what I mean? It's like, I want a guy. I want any guy. I want the guy. Okay, like, be assessing the men. Be assessing the men. People are always like, why aren't you in a relationship? I assess. And I just say, ooh, more bad than good here. More bad than good. Why would I do that? It's like 70% bad and only 30% good. I don't want it. I'm sorry, no. I think that someone else could offer me 79% good and maybe only a little bit bad. Okay? Be assessing the whole thing. Texting every day, that's how you get attached very quickly. Texting every day is a no. I tell you this all the time. Texting creates a false sense of closeness. All of these things work to your detriment. They don't work for you, bitch. They work against you. Pace yourself. Don't be texting him every single day. Don't be also, like, for me, don't be hanging out also, like, initially every single day. Let things, like, progress, like, naturally and normally. Be having a balance. The problem with the phones is we feel like we're entitled and everything is so accessible. And because I have your number, I should text you every single day. No, you shouldn't. You should not. You should be making a genuine effort and you should be considerate, but you shouldn't be texting a man every single day. I already told you with the texting what happens. Men text because they're bored. Something to do. Women text because they feel like they're getting close. That's how you get attached. When I talk to girls, even girls my age in their 30s, and they're like, this isn't the version of him that he presented. I'm sorry. Sometimes I think, yes, guys can, like, fake their personalities. Yes, guys can, like, do all these things. But if you're really paying attention, you would have clocked it sooner. But don't lie to yourself and don't overlook things. Be wearing your glasses. Be wearing 3 lenses if you need to, okay? Because I can guarantee you that there are some red flags that you overlooked and that you ignored. So be watching and be alert, bitch, okay? I always tell you that you're not auditioning for men, you're casting them. You are the director. This is your life, this is your movie. You are the main character, you are the director, you are the leading actress. Be picking the men. Be selective. What role is he auditioning for? And do you think you should cast him in the movie? Is this the chapter? Is he the guy? Is he really deserving of the role? Okay, please. I'm going to leave you with this. You don't need to fall in love or to decide that this is the guy just because he did one nice thing for you once. You need to focus on doing the nice things for yourself on a daily basis and making it a habit, so that way that becomes your standard and not something that you lose your head about because a guy did once, okay? That's what I want for the girlies. That's what I want. I want you to elevate and have that be your standard, be treating yourself nice, be pacing yourself, and always return back. Return back to the episode, get your notes, get your pen and paper, be jotting things down, be pacing yourself, be reflecting. Very important. Be very important. And whenever you can't figure something out, even more cause for concern. If you want to ask, if you're not sure, just sit with yourself, go to the trees, and reflect. The answers will find you. If you go to the trees will literally give you the answers. More people need to go see the trees. Touch the grass, see the trees, pray, meditate, whatever you do. Do it. Be doing it. Be looking at the trees and be saying, thank you. Thank you for the answers. Nature always gives you the answers. And people think I'm weird. Maybe we should talk about like youthfulness, because the trees be keeping me young as fuck, baby. Okay? With all that being said, I hope that you learn how to gracefully attach to a man who is deserving of said attachment. Thank you so much. I hope that you have a stunning rest of your day, and I will see you back here next week. I cannot wait. With love, with open arms, whatever.